Begley and Spence, who contacted us. Would everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is item 3, swearing in of new members. Board member Applewhite be sworn in, and board member Dupree will be sworn in again.
Good evening. All right, so we're going to do this together. If you can each put your hand on the Bible for me, please. And just repeat after me. State your name.
I, Derek Applewhite,
Do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain
Do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States,
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
not inconsistent herewith,
not inconsistent herewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
as the planning board member, so help me God.
as planning board member, so help me God.
Thank you. All right, get y'all the signs. And that one?
That one me one. Mm-hmm. I'll take this one.
I'll actually gonna sign it for you and everything. I'll bring it back to you. Okay, you're welcome. Mhm.
start together on us.
Yeah. Okay, and then I have this for you as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is item 4, election of chair and vice chair. Planning Director Ben Howe.
Good evening. So the first item of business on the agenda tonight is to elect a chair and vice chair for the next year. Chairman Moore and Vice Chair Powers have been in the position. So at this time, I will open up the floor for nominations of chair, or if you would prefer, you can also go ahead and nominate chair and vice chair together. But with this time, I'll open up the floor for nominations.
I say we keep it like it is because these guys are just getting used to their position. It's fairly new, so I would make a motion that we vote to retain the chair and vice chair for another term.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Are there any other nominations? All right, hearing none, we'll close nominations. And so with that, we have a motion second to elect Mr. Moore as chair and Mr. Powers as vice chair. Is there, and at this time we'll take a vote. Please say aye if you're in favor of the motion.
Aye.
All right, congratulations, Chair Moore. It's back to you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Liscombe. Ms. Powers. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is adjustments to the agenda. Are there any adjustments to the agenda necessary? All righty. That being said, the minutes from the December 20th, 2022 Clayton Planning Board meeting was emailed. Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes? Yes. Are there any corrections to the minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, you got a motion by Board Member Lee, second by Board Member Powers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next on the agenda is item 7, public hearings. Item 7A is 2022-206-OA, Special Use Permit Text Amendment. We'll hear from Planning Director Ben Howell.
Good evening. This is the same text amendment that you saw back in December that you had held over for this meeting. There have been no changes to the text or information you heard in December. So I will, I'm happy to go back through the presentation if you need, but really was just going to open it back up for board discussion.
All right, thank you. Any member of the board have any comments? If so, if not, I'll entertain a motion for approval for, let me hold off. Is there any member of the public that would like to speak on this issue? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval or not approval.
I make a motion for approval.
Motion for approval by Board Member Powers.
A second.
Second by Board Member Williams.
Chair Moore, if we can just,
The consistency statement.
yeah, Vice Chair Powers, if you can amend your motion to include that consistency statement on the screen, please.
I make a motion to approve with a consistency statement. This text amendment is consistent with the 2045 growth plan, specifically goal LU3 and strategy LU 3.1.3.
Thank you.
I second.
So we have a motion, a minute motion by Board Member Powers and a second by Board Member Lee. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Correction.
I'm sorry, Mr. Williams. Motion seconded by Board Member Williams. I'm sorry. Apologize. Correction to the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next on the agenda is item 7B, 2022-197-RZ, Lot 8, Gateway Drive rezoning. We're now here from staff.
Good evening, Board. Bruce Venable, Planner 1 trainee, presenting this to you today. This is for item 2022-197 rezoning. This property is located off of Gateway Drive. If you can see on your map and in your staff report, it's this little parcel right here. It's approximately 1.24 acres, currently vacant.
Mine.
Excuse me?
I'm sorry?
This is my property.
Your property?
Yes.
Part of the rezoning?
And I'm the reason I want to know why we are called here and who's the applicant.
Sir, we'll get to comments from the public in just a few minutes.
Okay.
So if you would just have a seat and you have an opportunity to speak to the board in just a few minutes. Thank you.
Here we have to show the current zoning map. Currently, this property in question is being proposed to be rezoned because it's currently under the Highway Business B3 SUD, which is a special use district, which is currently no longer an applicable zoning district within the town of Clayton. Here below, we can see the applicant is proposing the office institutional zoning district as an alternative. The future land use map shows this as an employment center where offices and other such uses are recommendable by the 2045 plan. Here's just a quick descriptor of the employment center that was included in your report. The encouraged uses are such as industrial, warehouse, office, research and development, text flex, hospital, renewable energy, recycling, fabrication, assembly, and technology. I want to provide that you should consider any approval to the O&I zoning district would allow any uses permitted by right if should you make a recommendation to the town council for this. Staff recommends approval of proposed rezoning request. And we have a statement of consistency and reasonableness. The applicant representation is here, and I'll open it up to them.
All right, thank you. We will now hear from the applicant.
Good evening, Board. My name is Wayne Nicholas with Williams Mullen, a senior land use planner with Williams Mullen, here representing the applicant for this rezoning, Wisdom for the Heart. I think staff's presented everything very well in their staff report, so I'm just here to answer any questions if you have them.
All right, thank you, sir. Hold on just a moment. Any questions of the applicant? All right, sir, thank you.
Okay.
Are there any comments on this matter from the public?
I didn't understand what's the purpose of the meeting. My name is Dr. Kalik. I'm one of the owner of the lots over there, but what is the purpose of the meeting and who is the applicant?
Okay, I'm assuming a member of staff. Now, are you looking at the right property?
I said,
Okay.
We received an application for a property to be rezoned in that area off of that street. And that's what this process is for, to change the zoning district so they can use it for a different purpose than it is being used now.
because originally it's just like for medical offices, right?
Originally, it was anything that would be permitted in that business district under the special use district organization, but we're currently, that doesn't exist anymore within the town zoning. So they have to change it in order to build anything out there. There's been a couple of other rezonings in the past few months that have gone through the same process of changing from that old zoning district to a new, more applicable zoning district.
Okay. So what is affecting us as an owner?
As a nearby property owner, how it can affect you by what kind of use or building happens afterwards. The uses that are the zoning that's being presented today would allow uses that are very similar to the type of uses that were originally going to be permitted under the zoning district used to currently be. It does open it up to a few more other options, but the town has done studies and has future plans that kind of show this area being developed and used for things like offices and other types of research and development, things like that. So this is kind of bringing the former zoning district up to the more modern kind of what the future plans are showing.
It's like more attractive business to be going on.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. I would like to make could we go back to the first page of the packet? I just wanted to correct something. A little further back, the first page of the packet,
The first page of the what? I'm sorry.
of your staff report.
The staff report unfortunately isn't on here. I do have it. Correct. Was there a correction that needed to be made?
Yes. I believe it lists that the notices were sent out on January 10th, 2029
2029.
on the copy that I saw. I just wanted to make sure you called.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That was a mistake in the report. No, they were sent January 10th, 2023.
All right.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you for catching that.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Any other member of the public who would like to speak on this issue? Hearing none, I'll turn it over to the board for their consideration.
This seems pretty straightforward to me and a good rezoning request. I'm supportive. And I'd make a motion to approve the rezoning to office and institutional.
Board Member Lipscomb, could you use the consistency statement in your motion? I apologize.
All right. So I'm going to make my motion and insert the statement of consistency and reasonableness. We find this rezoning action consistent with the future land use map goal LU1, policy LU 1.1, strategy LU 1.1.1, policy LU 1.4, strategy LU 1.4.1 of the comprehensive growth plan 2045. And we find this rezoning action reasonable and in the public interest because it updates a defunct zoning district and brings the parcel into an active zoning district and furthers the objective of the zoning ordinance and the comprehensive growth plan 2045.
We have a motion to approve by Board Member Liscum. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Applewhite. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The rezoning recommendation passes. Thank you. Next on the agenda is item 7C, 2022-214-RZ, Town of Clayton rezoning. Turn over to the board. Bruce.
Yes, sir. Good evening again.
Could you slow down? Could you slow down just a little bit?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
No problem. This rezoning is a town-initiated rezoning. This property for this project for 2022-214-RZ is the old R. Stephen Biggs wastewater pretreatment facility. This facility was recently sold to Novo Nordisk. And by our states and our ordinance, the current zoning here is public facilities which can only belong to town-owned property. So this is a town-initiated rezoning in order to change that over to an applicable zoning district for the area since they can no longer be part of the public facility zoning district. The current size of this property is approximately 22.2 acres. Current zoning, you can see here is the public facilities on the top map. All around it, you can see the pink and purple that represents our I-1 and I-2, which is our industrial light and industrial heavy zoning districts. And in the bottom map there, you can see that we're proposing to turn this into an applicable zoning district from the fellow adjacent Novo Nordisk site of I-1. Again, the future land use map shows this as an employment center, which encourages such uses. As industrial, warehouse, office, research and development, text flex, hospital, and other such uses. Factors consider that rezoning to the I-1 district would allow for all permitted uses to happen on the property, given that the property is already developed and in use. We don't foresee that being much of a case, but you should consider that in your recommendation. Staff recommends approval of this proposed zoning district. And here we have a statement of consistency and reasonableness, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? Thank you. Is any member of the public that would like to speak on this issue? If not, I'll turn it over to the board for their consideration. Are there any comments from the board?
I can do that one comment, just a question. In a situation like this, how long ago was it sold to Nova?
Director Howe, was this in December or November? Yes.
So it just happened? Okay. I was going to say, isn't the rezoning something that would take place? Does it always take place after it's sold?
That's a good question. I guess this is kind of the first I've come across this since being here in the town. Clayton, Director Howe, do you have experience in this type of situation?
Normally, we would hope to do the rezoning before it's sold, but in this instance, the sale went through, I think, a little bit quicker than we were expecting, and this was sort of an oversight. But we did want to go on and get this rezoning through as quickly as we could after the sale.
I just wondered.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, since I asked a question, I'll make a motion to accept the 2022-214-RZ for the Clayton rezoning. Pursuant to in conjunction with our statement of consistency and reasonableness, we find the rezoning action consistent with the future land use map goal LU1, policy LU 1.1, strategy LU 1.1.1, policy LU 1.3, strategy LU 1.3.1, policy LU 1.4, strategies LU 1.4.1 of the Comprehensive Growth Plan 2045, and we find this rezoning action reasonable in the public interest because it updates a defunct zoning district and brings the parcel into an active zoning district and furthers the objectives of the zoning ordinance and the Comprehensive Growth Plan 2045.
Thank you. We have a motion by Board Member Dupree. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Powers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, Board.
Is there any new business from staff or board member? We're at informal discussion and public comment. Any member of the public would like to speak? No, we've had them shorter.
Just to give y'all a couple of updates. One, we have 2 public meetings coming up in February. One is February 7th. We'll be having the Gateway 42 Small Area Plan public meeting. That'll be out at the Community Center on Amelia Church Road, and that meeting will be from 6 to 8 p.m. As a reminder, that's a small area plan that's looking at the 42 corridor, roughly between Amelia Church Road and Cornwallis Road. And then the next public hearing, the next week on the 13th of February, will be here in Town Hall, and it'll be for the Downtown Master Plan update. And this will be the sort of the next public meeting in that process, where we will be looking at some specific concepts for development of certain lots in the downtown area, as well as getting some input on some potential streetscape options and some more education on the Downtown Master Plan update. The other big project we have going on is, of course, the Unified Development Code rewrite. We are working through that. We are in the process of doing some internal staff review of initial draft chapters. We're through 2 chapters so far. We have another, I think, 2 chapters coming to us this week. We will be working, we've got to check with the consultant, but we will likely be looking to schedule another steering committee meeting, or start scheduling steering committee meetings for you to review those draft chapters, likely starting in around the March timeframe. We'll have to look at dates based on mapping out some of our current private development projects that are in queue to come through. We may be looking at scheduling a separate meeting for the steering committee, just to keep you from having to stay till 10 or 11 o'clock at night. We will be bringing you forth the draft chapters in modules, so you'll get probably 2 or 3 chapters at a time that'll all be of similar topic area. So for example, you'll likely get chapter 1, which is sort of the administration chapter, and chapter 2, which is the applications and processes chapter. You'll probably get those 2 together to review. Just a heads up, it'll be a lot of reading. Chapter 2 alone is it's about 130 pages. Chapter 1, I think, is around 50. When we get to the standards chapter, that one's looking like it's going to be probably closer to 300 pages. So we will likely bring that chapter all on its own to you, because that one will generate probably the most discussion. But those steering committee meetings will be starting back up here in the next couple of months. And I think we're scheduled to have at least 4 steering committee meetings over the course of the spring as we bring you the draft chapters to review in those modules. So. The other update I'll give you on staffing, we are still in the process of trying to hire our Planner 2 position back. So the position has been posted again. The position closes February 10th. So we're hoping that soon after that, we'll be able to have some interviews and hopefully have someone in place here before too long. If you know anyone who is qualified and interested in working for the town, please direct them to the town website to put in an application. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions, Mr. Howe? I have one. I think on your planners, and of course you're new also, well, not new, we're relatively new. Is there I guess what you've seen in counties, municipalities, a growth of planners? Because I've been in local government for several decades. I haven't seen the turnover in planners as what I've seen in the past couple of years. And I was just wondering, is there just tremendous growth now? They just have options like people in the tech fields or what?
It's a little bit of a combination, frankly. There's been growth in the field. There's been, as politely as I can say this, there has been a lot of retirements from those that have been in the field for quite a few years that have opened up some opportunities. And then there's also been more opportunities, especially over the last year or two, in the private sector as private development has geared up. And so it has become a very tight job market and with a lot of opportunities out there. And so that's one of the, that's while it's great for the planning profession overall, as a hiring authority, it can make our job very difficult in trying to get someone in because there's a lot of competition. Just in the triangle alone, I can tell you I know of at least 2 or 3 other municipalities that have been actively hiring for similar level or even higher level positions that have had just as much, if not more difficulty than we have. With finding someone that either fits qualifications or just finding someone that's willing to apply and come and work for us.
All righty, thank you.
Chairman Moore, my daughter, she's actually going to get her master's degree in planning, but she just graduated from ECU. She had 2 unsolicited job offers through her professors. Just said, hey, you're smart and these people are looking. And so it is extremely competitive. And I think that the more technically proficient all of our ordinance are getting, the more you have to have trained people to go through that. And it's no longer the days of just having a novice go out and say, I can do this. You know what I mean? So you've got to hire those professionals. And I totally agree that I think that's probably the biggest thing that I see difference is that it's harder. So you have to have that experienced workforce on the private sector side. So I imagine you get headhunted too. So
yeah,
so you got to stay here though. Hopefully y'all made him sign a contract.
I'm not planning to leave anytime soon.
I was going to say my son has a degree in urban planning and same sort of thing. He got approached by a lot of different groups, and there's so many private companies that have jobs that fall into that category that pay a lot better typically than the town of anywhere would pay. It's just difficult, I'm sure, to find people.
All right, well, thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you. Hearing none, since we covered our entire agenda tonight, if there's no other comments from staff, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Board Member Williams. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Lee. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, guys.